welcome to the continuation of the most unhinged mid-year freakout tag video you will see on YouTube this year. I am doing these one question at a time. So I am putting out videos approximately daily with just one question at a time. Each video has a dedicated question that I answer in the tag, and then I call it the end of the video and I edit it and post it, and then I make another one. Why am I doing it this way? Let's come in. Let's chat. Okay. I am unhinged. That is why. I actually am set up a little bit more today than I was in the previous two videos, but part of the reason I'm doing it this way is just because I don't want to have the pressure of having to set up. I haven't been posting them, but I've been making reading vlogs. And I like the just off the cuff, low pressure aspect of reading vlogs. I might be trying to post more of them because it's like, if I have thoughts, I'm just gonna sit down and share my thoughts, and I'm not gonna worry about my lighting, my hair, my makeup, my backdrop, my anything. I'm just gonna sit down and share my thoughts, and that's what I do for my reading vlogs. And I was like, I was like, you know, thinking about the answers to each of these questions and thinking about like sitting down and filming and then going, oh my gosh, this is going to turn into a really long video, and then I'm going to have to edit it, and then I'm going to have to like edit those little book covers in all of the books that I mention and all of that, and it just kind of seemed overwhelming. And then I was just like, I could just take all of the pressure off by acting like it's a reading vlog. Now granted, I could have posted all of these videos together and then posted it just as like one huge mashup of all of the little answered questions. That's not the route I decided to take. Instead, I decided to take the unhinged route and just post each video on its own. So welcome. If you're new around here, hi. If you're not new, welcome back to the madness. Question number 3 of the mid-year freakout tag is, what is the best book you've reread so far in 2025? And I have reread exactly 2 books so far in 2025. The first book I reread was this wonderful guy right here, Lost Ark Dreaming. So the first time I read this book, I read the ebook. Second time I read this book, I listened to the audiobook. Third time I read the book, I will probably read the physical book that I have here in my hand. It is gorgeous. This is one of my favorite books from last year. I'm just gonna read the back because it gives you a little insight into the prose in this book. What are we but water and skin? What are we but stories that touch? The hand that feeds is sometimes bitten. The hand that feeds is but a foot in disguise. Ask not what is, but what isn't. Ask not what is, but what may be. Okay, this is about these people in the future who are in a world that is covered in water, and they're living in these high-rise towers, and there's been a breach in the towers, and these 3 people have to team up to go investigate. They haven't really met each other before, they don't like each other, but they have to go investigate this breach, and in doing so, they realize that there are threats from both outside the tower and within the tower. And then they have to solve the world's problems. Not quite, but gorgeous book. Very short. You have no excuse not to read it. Go read it. I hope you love it as much as I do. Okay, so that is, I kind of wanted a book to like start the year off right. To have like, this is the first book I read this year, and it kind of like sets the tone for like a good reading year. And I think it's working because I think I've had a pretty good reading year. So I read Lost Ark Dreaming, and that's the only book that I read that I've not already read this year. The second book that I reread is a book I read in February because Mare from Lady Mare Reads recommended it. It is called A Strange and Stubborn Endurance. And this is a story about a guy who is leaving the only homeland he's ever known. He's getting, it's a marriage, it's the political alliance marriage, so he's marrying for like political reasons, and he goes to the kingdom in the place where he's getting married, and they're very different than what he's used to. And he has to navigate that. He feels, free to be who he is for the first time, but also that is scary. He's not used to that. It's also a journey of healing because our main characters also experiences sexual violence at the beginning of the story and then often lashes out at people along the way, even those who don't deserve it, as he's trying to navigate the healing experience from that. And I love the characters in this story. I love the journey that they go on. There's so many like character moments of like they're sitting down and eating dinner and talking about what their plans are for the next day or stuff like that. There's so many like character moments like that. We also have our main character's best friend is a mute, and they talk in sign language to each other, and then this best friend goes with him as he goes to the new kingdom, and then they're like both experiencing this new world and how different people treat the best friend. And that was kind of a thing even in their old life of like people treat him differently because he's mute and doesn't speak. And I don't know, I love that character. I love all of the characters. So I reread it. So I read it in February and then I reread it in May because I wanted to, because it made me happy. Okay, so those are the 2 books that I've reread so far this year. Let me know the best book you've reread so far this year. Are you someone who rereads books? I generally reread a lot of books, but this year not so much because there's been a lot of new books I want to get to. So chat with me in the comments about rereads, and I hope to see you in another unhinged book tag video.